Hello and welcome to Mitv Primetime News, coming to you live from our broadcast studio here in Lagos. I am Teresa Adeyemi. We begin the news tonight with the top stories. Nnamdi Kanu declines to take plea on fresh charges. APC holds National Convention 26th February 2022. From the foreign scene, Tonga says tsunami was unprecedented disaster. Sport. Everton appoint Ferguson as interim manager. Now the news in details. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja on Tuesday adjourned further proceedings in the case against the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, till Wednesday. The adjournment was at the instance of Kanu, who complained of delayed service of a 15-count amended charge by the prosecution. Kanu, through a team of lawyers led by a senior lawyer, Chief Michael Zokome, further accused the Nigerian government of denying him the necessary facility to defend the charge against him. Zokome said the amended charge was served on them barely 24 hours to the scheduled hearing. The prosecution, Shoabu Labaran, who did not oppose the request for adjournment, however, faulted the action of Kanu's legal team, describing it as frustrating the course of the trial.
This is the charge that was filed was dated 17th. That was on Friday, and they filed yesterday. And as soon as it was filed, it was served on them, and they had an interaction with him. And of course, you are aware of the fact that law requires that charges can be amended and filed even on the eve of the judgment of any case. So the mere refusal to take the plea today is one of the several antics employed by the defendants to delay this case.
But tomorrow, no one is running away from plea being taken. But the point we made today, which the court appreciated, is that you can't take plea to counts that have not even been given to you. We were served some minutes to 10 a.m. yesterday a 15-count amended charge for a case coming up today, whereas the last date of adjournment was 2nd of December. So they had well over 1.5 months to have done that and served us. They didn't. So I believe that was intended to frustrate today's proceedings. In any event, that was the 6th time.
President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, has assured that the chamber would expedite action on the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, having concluded all consultations on the President's response. Lawan gave the hint on Tuesday in an address delivered at the start of plenary to welcome senators back from the Christmas and New Year break. He recalled that the Senate postponed discussions on the consideration of the response of President Muhammadu Buhari on the Electoral Act 2010 Amendment Bill in December last year. He said this became imperative to enable the chamber to consult with its counterpart in the House of Representatives and their constituents respectively. Senator Lawan, however, urged that the Senate must continue to prioritize the security and welfare of citizens as enshrined in the Constitution, while urging Nigerians to despair as a result of security challenges confronting the nation.
Distinguished colleagues, the security situation in our country is still there. We must remain focused and determined to work with the executive arm of government and also continue to support our armed forces and security agencies. We must continue to prioritize the security and welfare of our citizens as enshrined in our Constitution. I urge us not to be discouraged by the situation. We should make this year as the year for the final securing of our nation from the numerous security challenges. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate postponed discussions on the consideration of response of Mr. President on the Electoral Act 2010 Amendment Bill to enable us to consult with our counterparts in the House of Representatives and also consult our constituents. Like we all know, the Senate and indeed the National Assembly worked so hard on the bill. Having consulted, the Senate will expeditiously look into the issue.
The House of Representatives has resolved to reintroduce the Electoral Act Amendment Bill on Wednesday to address the concerns that made President Muhammadu Buhari to decline assent to the proposed legislation. Speaker of the House, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, stated this on Tuesday at the resumption of plenary for the 2022 legislative session. While commending the lawmakers for the work done in passing the Electoral Bill Amendment Bill, Honorable Gbajabiamila noted that unfortunately, the bill did not receive presidential assent due to introduction of direct primaries. House of Representative correspondent Linda Ike reports that Gbajabiamila said the House will address the mitigating concerns, pass the bill, and send it back to presidency for assent.
It is disappointing that the failure of political parties to adequately document their membership is being used to not give the Nigerian people the power to fully participate in our nation's politics. If nothing else, including a direct primary mandate in the law would have forced political parties to properly register their members within the shortest possible time. This would have been the singular most significant reform of our political primary system, party system in a generation. I remain convinced that the proposal for direct primary elections is valuable for building accountability in our political system. But we must not allow the perfect to be the enemy of the good. Therefore, the House will reintroduce the amendment tomorrow, and we will work quickly to address the mitigating concerns, pass the bill, and send it back to His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari for assent.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has said it will not release the 2023 general election timetable until the Electoral Act Amendment Bill is signed into law. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu disclosed this Tuesday in Abuja during the Commission's first quarterly consultative meeting with political parties. He said the Electoral Amendment Bill currently before the National Assembly, the Commission is encouraged by the Senate President's assurance to give priority attention to the bill when the National Assembly reconvenes from its recess today, and the commitment by the President to assent to the bill as soon as the issue of mode of primaries by political parties is resolved. We look forward to a speedy passage of the bill, which is crucial to our preparations for future elections. As soon as it is signed into law, the Commission will quickly release the timetable and schedule of activities for the 2023 general election based on the new law.
One political party has indicated the venue for its primaries. I urge you all to do so immediately to enable us work out the detailed plans for monitoring the primaries. All primaries for electing candidates must take place in the constituency where the election will hold as required by law. In the cases of Ekiti and Osun governorship elections, any primaries conducted outside the two states will not be monitored by the Commission, and their outcomes will not be accepted. For emphasis, the bimodal voter accreditation system will be deployed in the FCT elections, which is the second major election after the Anambra governorship election held in November last year. The 68 constituencies in the FCT, 6 area council chairmen, and 62 councillors, covering extensive urban and rural locations, sharing borders with 5 states in the north central and northwestern parts of the country, is another opportunity to pilot the efficacy of the beavers in a different geographical, geopolitical, and electoral context.
We noticed that there is the requirement for upgrading the level of the diligence and proficiency of both its permanent and ad hoc personnel on election duties by way of training, refresher courses, and reorientation. There is need for a more robust deployment of logistics and greater performance in the distribution of vital election materials. Very importantly, IPAC is recommending improvement in the operational conditions of all the biometric gadgets in order to reinforce the growing confidence in their use as reliable technological devices for the enthronement of credible and transparent elections.
The All Progressive Congress APC Caretaker Committee Chairman Mai Malabuni has announced February 26th as the date for the APC convention. Buniwu is also the governor of Yobe State, said this on Tuesday at the National Progressive Women Conference 2022 held at the International Conference Center, ICC in Abuja. It said the party is counting on the support of women to hold a successful convention. Buni's announcement comes less than 48 hours after APC governors met behind closed doors at the KB Governor's Lodge in Abuja. The governors deliberated on the contentious national convention of the party and also insisted on holding the planned February convention of the APC. The Lagos State government and transportation stakeholders in the state have signed and officially unveiled the Consolidated Informal Transport Sector Levy. Speaking at the signing ceremony and unveiling tickets of the Consolidated Informal Transport Sector Levy, Commissioner for Finance Rabiu Olowo said the benefit of the levy included to harmonize collection process by putting a structure in place, reduce multiple taxes, dues and levies to all agents of state and local government, provide reliable data, eradicate harassment of bus drivers, bring collaborative engagement within stakeholders, among others. They said a total of 800 Naira charge Consolidated Informal Transport Sector Levy, which is effective February 4th, 2022, will be paid to moderate the fees that motorists in the sector pay daily, adding the tax card would also be issued to them. The commissioner said the approach was a 100 alignment with stakeholders, a form of revenue assurance and total restructuring of the transport system in the state, adding that the governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu's administration, had put the interests of citizens as priority. Transport stakeholders at the event, which included the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, among others, agreed with the arrangement, saying the initiative towards unifying the transport sector and geared towards development of Lagos.
Lagosians to know that this is a very, very remarkable achievement. We did a survey about 6 months ago, and we found out that an average danfo pays close to 3,000 Naira in a day. When they load from Ebutemeta, they pay in Adekunle, they pay in Yaba, up to Pangrove, up to, everywhere they go, every junction they pay. What this Consolidated Transport Sector Levy will do for us is to harmonize this. Once they pay from their point of loading, that will be the single charge in a day. And this single charge, as we are going to be announcing today, is an 800 Naira charge.
What we are trying to achieve is a unified, harmonized billing system. So, before now, Oduolu has a constitutional right, Mushin has a constitutional right to collect money from motorists in their parks, so also all the local government in Lagos. So, but in our efforts at Lagos State government to reduce the stress, they have harmonized. So this 800 Naira covers all the money collected by all the local government chairmen in Lagos State.
Facilitate learning and ensure pupils receive top-notch education, the member of Federal House of Representatives representing Ifakojayi Federal Constituency, Owolabi Adisa James, distributed 34,000 exercise books and 2,000 school bags to public junior secondary school and all the public primary school pupils across the Ifakojayi local government area and Ojokoro local council development area. Speaking at the event, Owolabi said the exercise is aimed at securing the future of the pupils through quality education. He encouraged pupils to make judicious use of the exercise books. The materials provided will serve as motivation for pupils to strive for academic excellence.
Without education, you cannot become nothing. They should be focused, understand why they are here, because all of us pass through this place. Even the cabinet said he was in this school. He started from this school. So I passed this school. So I know how it affects the parents, even to buy them bags and books. No matter what I give, I am giving back to them what they have given me. That is what I have done.
Maintenance culture is more paramount in the schooling. The advice should go to the school managers to ensure most of the properties were properly handled and taken care of.
Also, it was indeed a great moment for Mushin Odiolowo Ojuwoye resident as the member representing Mushin at the Federal Constituency. One empowerment item to residents Speaking at the program, Honorable Taufik Adeyemi Ali said he assured the people of quality representation and he must continue to facilitate programs that will support their livelihood. The initiative further reinstated Adeyemi Ali's commitment towards delivering the dividends of democracy to the people at the grassroots.
Without any iota of doubt, improving our ways of prosperity requires careful, continuous and targeted empowerment strategy for me to support the socio-economic policies of both the state and local governments. Equipment of helps self-employment, social and physical infrastructures that will facilitate socio-economic prosperity.
The style now is they will make sure that the monitor, whoever is giving any of the items, just to be sure that it is not sold and it is used for the purpose for which it is given to everyone.
The Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists of Nigeria says its members are working towards developing indigenous vaccine against the novel SARS-CoV-2 and other infectious diseases. The national president, Professor Garba Damen, while addressing journalists in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, solicited the federal government support for adequate funding and laboratory infrastructure to make the local vaccines possible. Professor Damen also called on the government to employ medical laboratory scientists at port health services across Nigeria to support the disease surveillance response and activities across the nation's part. He explained that the nation cannot effectively fight pandemics if the country depends on the importation of all diagnostic tools and relegates its in-country research and development effort. The medical laboratory scientist national president, while commending the appointment of Dr. Ifedayo Adetifa as the Director General of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control (NCDC), applauded President Muhammad Buhari for approving 950 million naira intervention fund for the establishment of molecular laboratories in all federal tertiary hospitals. Professor Damen expressed optimism that the building and equipment at the laboratories will tremendously help in mitigating the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic as well as that of other infectious diseases.
Infiltration of quacks into the practice can weaken the health system and overwhelming response to disease outbreak and pandemic. That as medical laboratory scientists who are skilled in knowledge and techniques of vaccine production, we are ready to start the development and production of indigenous vaccines against the novel SARS-CoV-2 and indeed all other infectious diseases. All we need is adequate funding. Smallpox for yellow fever in the 60s. And so we are also advocating that that lab has to be reactivated. Our members have the skill for developing vaccine. We don't need to be depending on importing vaccines. All that we are advocating is that our members should be supported so that we can have, indigenous vaccine production.
Up next is Foreign Stories. Please stay with us. You're watching the Mitv Primetime News. Now to foreign stories. Tonga says it has been hit by an unprecedented disaster in the government's first update since a volcanic eruption triggered a tsunami. In a statement, the government confirmed 3 deaths, 2 locals and a British national. It says some of the smaller outlying islands were particularly badly affected, with all the houses destroyed on one and just 2 left on another. Aid efforts have been hampered by ash falling from the volcano. Volunteers have been sweeping the runway of the main airport to allow planes bringing much-needed drinking water and supplies to land. Communications with the island chain have been disrupted after the single underwater cable connecting Tonga to the rest of the world was severed in the eruption. Boris Johnson has categorically denied he was one drinks party in the number 10 Garden Rigs breaking lockdown rules. Nobody warned me that it was against the rules. The Prime Minister said, I think I would have remembered that. Former aide Dominic Cummings says he warned Mr. Johnson at the time and has accused him of misleading members of Parliament about it. Asked if he would resign if he was found to have misled members of parliament, Mr. Johnson said, and I quote, "Let's see what the report says." End of quote. Senior civil servant Sue Gray is due to publish a report into alleged COVID rule breaking at lockdown get-togethers in Downing Street and government departments. A British man who took 4 people hostage at a synagogue in Texas had been investigated by MIS. Malik Faisal Akram from Blackburn in Lancashire was the subject of an investigation in late 2020, but by the time he flew to the U.S., he was assessed to be no longer a risk. The 4 people held hostage at the synagogue in Colville near Dallas were eventually freed unharmed after a 10-hour siege. Akram, 44, was shot dead by police. He had been on the British Security Service watch list as a subject of interest in 2020 and was investigated in the second half of that year. But by 2021, Akram, who had a criminal record in the UK, had moved from the active list to the former subject of interest list and was no longer considered a threat. And that's all from the foreign scene. We go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you sport-related stories. Please stay with us. You're still watching Mitv Primetime News. Now talking sports. Senegal finished top of Group B at the African Cup of Nations, despite being held to a 0-0 draw by Malawi. Habib Diallo and Sadio Mane went close for Senegal, while Malawi had the award of a penalty overturned following the video assistant referee review (VAR). The Flames started the other spot kick in the 74th minute when left-back Gomezgani Chiwe went down under the challenge of Bunasser. But referee Blaise Juven Ungwe reverses the decision after studying replays. Malawi finished third in the table on 4 points and could yet qualify for the last 16 in Cameroon as one of 4 best-ranked third-place sides. Senegal, Nations Cup runner-up in 2019, only scored 1 goal in their 3 group matches. Maine's 97-minute winner against Zimbabwe in their opener. Everton announced on Tuesday they had appointed Duncan Ferguson as interim manager for the second time following the sacking of Rafael Benitez. The struggling Premier League club faced Aston Villa at home on Saturday before a 2-week international break for World Cup qualifiers in South America, North America and Asia. The said in a statement that Duncan Ferguson has been appointed as Everton caretaker manager for the club's upcoming games. Ferguson was installed as caretaker in 2019 when he took 5 points from 3 league games against Chelsea, Manchester United and Arsenal prior to the appointment of Carlo Ancelotti. Belgium boss Roberto Martinez has been linked with a second spell in charge at Goodison Park, while other names in the frame are former Everton player Wayne Rooney and his ex-international teammate Frank Lampard. And before we end the primetime news tonight, a quick recap of our top stories. Nnamdi Kanu declines to take plea on fresh charges. APC holds National Convention come 26 February 2022. From the foreign scene, Tonga says tsunami was unprecedented disaster. Sport. Everton appoint Ferguson as interim manager. And with that, we draw the curtain on the primetime news tonight. From the entire news crew, I am Teresa Adeyemi. Do have a great night. Good night.